want to apologize for the terrible lighting. It's the middle of the day. I don't have any curtains or blinds for my windows. Not for that one anyway, the one that's way back in the back wall. Um, so the lighting's going to be shitty, and the quality's going to be shitty. Overall, just shitty. But aside from that, hello, how are you guys feeling today? Are you feeling fine? Are you feeling good? Are you feeling fantastic? I'm feeling pretty fucking amazing, thank you for asking. Although, here's where we get into the meat of things. I actually wanted to talk today a little bit about breakups because I was thinking about mine earlier. And you know how you do that thing where you kind of stalk your ex on social media? Well, I was kind of doing that. I'll admit to it. Even though I have like unfollowed her on social media and I've blocked her number in my phone. Not blocked, I erased it. I got rid of any trace of her existence in my life. I was still thinking about it, and I decided I'm going to stalk a little bit. I'm going to give in to that primal urge to see if she's miserable or to see if she's happy. Because I don't know, well, I know which one I'd prefer as, you know, an asshole human being. But at the same time, you also want to know that that person you once cared about is hopefully a little better off, hopefully having a decent time with their life. And that might be the case, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. But I still wanted to talk about it a little bit and talk about what's going through my head when I'm doing this sort of thing. I probably need to back up a little bit. There is no consistency in these videos whatsoever. In fact, I'm probably a little too far to the right. There we go. That's more centered. Perfect. Everything about this video is perfect. So, it's a crazy thing. This relationship has been over for months now, ever since, I believe it was April. So, you know, it's been over for months. I should be over it, and I do believe that I am. But even though it's over, even though I'm over it, I'm still coming back, and I'm just like, you know, maybe she's miserable or maybe she's happy. And I don't know if her happiness would make me miserable, but I don't think it will because I'm already happier now due to another development in my life. And so, a development that would not have happened otherwise. So, you know, for all intents and purposes, I should be very happy with what's going on. And I am. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong at all. I am very happy with what's going on right now. This is more just, in general, dealing with the breakup, how to deal with the breakup, what you're going to go through, how you should process it, all that good stuff, just based on my personal experience. And, you know, I'm going to go into those little nuances that you kind of go through, those things that you do. You know, I already talked about stalking your ex on social media, stuff like that. So, the main thing that was going through my head as I was doing this stalking, I was actually not going through the more recent posts. I was actually going through past posts, back into the past when we were actually together. And I noticed this interesting decline as I went through it. Just, there were a lot of posts that, you know, were alluding to me in particular. A lot of posts that were directed at me, stuff like that. And as I went further down the line, there were fewer and fewer of those posts until finally there were none at all. And, you know, it's interesting. You don't see these warning signs going through that sort of thing. You don't see the warning signs when you're getting toward the end of that relationship. But when you go back and look at it, you can kind of see here and there that things were going slightly awry. Now, in this case, I did know things were going pretty badly, just because we weren't communicating like we used to, and that's basically it. We just weren't communicating. We weren't doing the same things we used to do, and I don't know if that's because those things got bland or I don't know. I will say this: I'm not entirely sure why the relationship ended, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about it. Actually, I will in case you're dealing with the same thing, and that way this can be more geared toward you in particular, whoever's watching this, who may be seeking a little bit of advice. The reason she gave me was that she no longer had romantic feelings for me anymore. She didn't see the relationship going anywhere. And I thought that was interesting because I don't know. She wanted to take things very slowly, like fucking molasses slow. And I was okay with that. I'm perfectly fine with going slow. But I didn't realize that going slow meant things coming to an absolute fucking standstill. That's basically what it boiled down to. We ended up doing basically the same thing almost every, like, we would have video Skype sessions, and this was a long distance thing. It's not like a full blown relationship, but it it's one of those things, like, if you've been in a long distance relationship, you're like, it still feels kind of real, I guess. I don't really know how to put it, but and of course I say that, and it feels silly to think, being in a long distance relationship, to feel that way about a person that you can't really see, touch, um, you know, just be around. You can't do things with them that you would do in a normal relationship. So, yeah. I know I say yeah, so a lot. That's because I'm trying to collect my thoughts, and I'm trying to get away from using and because that drives me fucking insane. So, I guess we're going to go insane with so. Fuck. Okay, anyway, moving on. So, yeah, I was doing that stalking, and I was seeing those warning signs there. And, you know, if I go through the old text messages on my phone, of course, I cleared that entire conversation because I don't want to relive that. I don't want to go back and see, oh, hey, I was so fucking happy, and then things just sort of crashed and burned. I don't want to go back and read through that and relive it. Um, like I used to write things for, and I have notebooks that have pages and pages dedicated just to her, and I'm currently in the process of tearing those out, getting rid of them, burning them, doing something with them. And again, that's because of more recent, um, what's the word I used earlier? Developments in my life. And, those developments are what led me to actually feeling inspired enough to get rid of those things, to stop holding on to those memories. Because that's one of the biggest things that happen when you go through a breakup. You want to hold on to those memories. You want to be happy again. You want to feel that happiness. You don't want to let it go until you get with someone else. Then you're kind of willing to let it go because you're like, well, this is happening differently now with somebody else, and I don't really care about that other person anymore. And for the most part, that's true for me right now. I don't care about that other person. I I say that, but I did that stalking, so maybe I cared a little bit. But again, it was more out of curiosity than being like, "Oh, hey, I miss you." Um, so yeah, I keep looking over to chat to see if anybody's there. Just ignore that. Um, I know it looks like I'm lying like a motherfucker when I do that, and whatever. So, and I can't stress enough how happy I am now with more recent developments. But if you're still struggling with that, holding on to those memories, the best thing I can tell you to do is to just get rid of them. That's number one in getting through a breakup. You just want to get rid of those memories. Of course, that doesn't mean you can't still cherish the time that you were going through that, because at the end of the day, if you were happy with that person, you had happiness in your life, and maybe you still want to hold on to that happiness, especially homestead, especially if you are, currently miserable. You want to go back and relive that happiness, but you're never going to be happy again unless you start getting rid of that stuff. And that's what I've started doing, and I feel a lot better now than I did, a month ago, a few weeks ago, even. Because I had this crazy fantasy in my head that maybe, just maybe, she would send a message or a text and just want to try things all over again. But I always knew that this was just a crazy fantasy and that would never happen. And I stopped myself a few times from just sending her a message. And I also remember, this plays into the bipolar disorder that we talked about in the previous vlog. I remember I would be in a great mood and I would think about that, and I would be like, you know what, I want to send a message and just sort of reconcile and be like, I accept that it happened, And you're not a terrible person. It's just circumstances were strange and it had to happen, and I'm perfectly okay with it. But I would think about that, and I would be like, I'm not really okay with that, because I don't see it as my fault that things went bad. Now, maybe that's just me. Maybe that's what everybody sees when they get out of a relationship. I'm pretty sure everyone else blames the other person. And yeah, that's what I've been doing. That's what I've done. But I'm still, trying to move on from it, still trying to get through it. But yeah, I'm starting to get rid of those memories. And it's going to be a process, because there were a lot of things, a lot of messages, a lot of texts, a lot of social media following. I actually still haven't unfollowed her on Twitch. I need to do that after this video. I haven't gotten rid of all of those things that I wrote. I haven't gotten rid of all the things that I wrote on my desktop. I just haven't gotten rid of it yet. And, it seems like I'm holding on to something, and, you know, with the way things are going in my life right now, I should be extremely happy and I should be willing to get rid of those memories, and I am. But I need to do it at my own pace. I need to also remember that this new thing that's happening is the very start, and I believe this other person is going to be very patient with me and very understanding, as I am going to be with them. So, I guess the biggest thing about getting over a past relationship is to kind of get into a new one, which sounds stupid, I guess, because, if you're still holding on to those memories, why do you want to go into another relationship and drag that kind of person down? But I don't think anyone has that intention when they go into a new relationship. They don't want to drag that person down. They just are still holding on to those remnants, and those remnants are so difficult to just let go of. Because, again, you were happy at that point. You remembered what that happiness felt like, and you want to continue to feel that happiness. And with a new person, there's a new happiness to be found. And the more that you're with them, the more, and I keep using the word happy, and the word happiness, the more happy you feel with them, the more happiness they give you, the more willing you are to just let go of the past and embrace the present and embrace the future. So that's kind of the biggest piece of advice I can give, is just hold on to the present. The past is, of course, the past, and believe me, I know what it's like to hold on to the past. I have a whole lot of stories about the past that still, to this day, I'm talking years ago, 10, 15 years ago, that I still hold on to, that I'm still upset about, that I should have let go of, but I just can't. But, of course, it's natural for me to give hypocritical advice, because to me, it's always been easier to give someone advice rather than to follow your own advice. Because at the end of the day, it's not your life that you're fucking with when you give out advice to someone. It's somebody else's life, and 9 times out of 10, you don't really care how it goes. So, the best piece of advice I can give you, aside from just getting rid of those memories and trying to find someone new, is just live in the present, embrace the present. Spend time with your friends and family, just get to know someone a little better. Of course, you can always have that hope, and I guess just more hope, that you're going to meet that someone someday. And, everyone is like, oh yeah, that one special someone. I don't think that there is that one person out there for you. I mean, obviously, you're going to go through multiple relationships in life, unless you're one of those lucky few who met that one person in school one day and you just have been with them your entire life. And I think those sorts of stories are the absolute best. But, most of us are going to go through multiple relationships in our lifetime. And, that doesn't, that to me equates to, there isn't just that one special someone. You don't find that one special someone. You make that one special someone. You meet that person in your life, and you decide at some point or another whether you want that person to be that person that you want to end up with. And that's pretty much how I feel going into every relationship. I feel like that one person that I want them to be is going to be that person. That sentence made no fucking sense. Let me try it again. You determine, you meet that person, and of course, you meet that person, and you're like, is that someone that I could have a viable relationship with? And you answer that question right on the spot. But if that answer is a no, it's not like that person is completely cut off from being that for you. It just means you're not ready yet, or they're not ready yet. And the more you spend time with that person, the more you maybe realize that that person is going to be the person that you want. So, I can't stress it enough. Never give up hope that you're going to meet that person. I mean, it could be years from now. You could be fucking 90 years old and then you meet them, but you're gonna meet them. And for those of you who think you're gonna be lonely your entire life, you're absolutely wrong. You're not gonna be lonely your entire life. You're gonna meet someone. Now, I can't say that it's always going to last. That's insane to think. Never get your hopes up that high. But if you do meet that person, even if it's for only a few blissful moments, enjoy that time while it lasts. But if that relationship does end, you need to know when to let it go and when to get over it. Now, for me, it's taken months to get over it, and it took me finding another person to get over it. And I like to believe that I'm helping them get over their past relationships and really starting to get them to look forward to the future. So, that's just my 2 cents on it. So, to recap, if you want to get over a relationship, just get over it. And that is, again, the most hypocritical advice I can give, because I don't just get over things. I don't just let things go. I'm a very, very, what's the word for it? I hold grudges. I really do. I am not a nice person. If you fucking make me mad, I'm going to be mad at you for a very long time until you give me a reason otherwise. So, that goes into the relationships too. And as much as I can hope that this current development is going to go somewhere else, I have to maintain reasonable expectations and know that it might not. And that isn't me being doubtful of myself or doubtful of this other person. That's being realistic. That's saying, I've had this experience before. I know what it's like. I know what it feels like. I know what I've gone through. And I have to accept that it can happen again. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to happen again, but you have to be willing to accept that it can. So, I think that's about where I want to leave it off. Maybe I'll do another vlog where I talk about this in particular breakup a little more and just sort of go into the details of it, because I do want to talk about it more. Because I feel like if I talk about it with someone, even if it's just to a camera, I'll be able to get over it a little bit faster because I won't be seething over it. In fact, that's the reason I'm making this right now. I was seething over it. I was starting to get upset. But I decided, rather than sit there and try to drown it out with a little bit of heavy metal, which I've been doing the past couple of days, I was going to talk about it. And of course, this plays into what we talked about last time. Just talk about it. Always talk about your problems with somebody. It doesn't matter who it is, as long as they will listen. Just talk about it. Fucking talk about it. And, that's maybe doesn't help you let go of it immediately, but you'll be talking about it to someone. Someone will understand what you're going through, and maybe then you'll be able to let it go, because, you'll have someone who actually cares about you, and you'll know that they care about you because they're taking that time to just spend with you and make you feel better. That's what my friends have always been for me. They've been that support that I've always needed when I need to get over something like a breakup. So, I guess at the end of the day, let go of the memories. Talk to someone about it. And there were 2 other points, but I can't remember them. Find somebody else. And you're always going to, at the end of that the relationship that ends, you're always going to be like, I'm just going to find somebody else. That's what kind of being on the rebound is. I'm just going to find somebody else. It's not that fucking difficult. I remember, this video is going to go on forever. How long has this been going on? Fucking 20 minutes. Let's go. I remember at the end of this relationship, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna find somebody else. It's gonna be super easy. So I started up an online dating profile. I paid for a premium membership, and I met a few people on there. I talked to a few people, but it wasn't that instant just connection. There, you were asking questions, you were seeing a profile, and you were automatically making judgments of a person before you really got to talk to them. And that's one of the things about relationships. It's always better when it's more natural. This isn't to say, if you met someone through an online service and you're with them and you're very happy, that isn't, I'm not trying to discredit that. It's just in my personal experience, it's always been better to meet that person naturally, just stumble across them one day, and then just let it play out as it plays out. To me, the online dating thing feels like more of trying to force it, and you never want to force love. You never want to force that sort of thing. You always want it to feel natural. But I also still understand, if you want to find it, you can essentially kind of brute force it if you really want to. So, that's what I tried to do. I tried to brute force it. It didn't really work. I didn't like the people I was talking to. I didn't really care about them because we were just asking basic dating questions. We didn't, I wasn't like, oh hey, that person's kind of funny. Maybe I want to introduce myself to them. Maybe I want to try to get involved in their life. That it wasn't for me. So, maybe you want to try that. Maybe that seems more viable to you. That's your own thing. If you want to do that, go ahead. I'm not going to say don't do it because it's your life. So, do with your life what you want. That's a good fucking point. Don't kill people. Don't light people on fire. Don't throw people off of buildings. But do with your life what you want to do. So, I think I'm going to close this out here before this goes on for way too long. So, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of this thing. Thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you in general, of course, from the bottom of my heart. Fucking thank you. Thank you a lot. Thank you very much. Thank you. You're welcome. So, take care. I'll talk to you later.